Good morning. My name is Aaryn Johns, and before I begin, I do want to say many thanks to Sam, to Todd, to Lily, to Jamila, to Molly for being your speaker this morning. I am in my mid-20s, about 5'6". I have very short, dark, already graying hair. I'm wearing a black dress shirt with a purple paisley tie and black chinos. In 1997, the progenitor of a series of role-playing video games set in a post-nuclear apocalypse was released by Interplay Productions, the original Fallout. Since then, there have been 5 sequels in the series, focusing on different time periods and regions of the United States, following what is referred to in universe as the Great War. According to the Fallout Wiki online, quote, "The Great War, and simply referred to as the War, was a global thermonuclear war that took place on Saturday, October 23rd, 2077, caused by the Sino-American War. It resulted in the destruction of all participating nations and abroad, global disruption of the climate, and billions of casualties as a result of nuclear blasts, exposure to radiation, and the subsequent collapse of social and government structures, all within the span of just 2 hours. The Fallout universe is very much like our own, with some divergences over the millennia, but with the main split from historical canon being the wake of the Second World War, the atom. In universe, nuclear power is embraced and radicalized. Nuclear-powered alarm clocks, vehicles, robot butlers, and atomic-fueled war machines. Culturally, the world stopped evolving in the mid-20th century, a never-ending Cold War. Throughout the games, the soundtrack of the survivors and their descendants' lives are salvaged recordings of great classical, folk, blues, jazz, and rock and roll tracks of the era. The people of 2077 hold the same cultural values of the mid-20th century, just with a glowing radioactive soda in their hand with its own theme park out in Western Massachusetts. The people of the wastes in these games, spanning from the years 2102 through 2287, in the shadow of the bomb, have inherited the remains of those cultural values and they have mutated to fit the world they inhabit now. Many of the tracks aired on the radio are thematic. The Ink Spots' "I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire," Elton Britt's "Uranium Fever," and the 5 Stars' "Atom Bomb Baby." That might be a little on the nose, I think. Jokes aside, music plays a big role in these games. In-game radio stations manned by Wastelanders broadcasting the music of people who have been gone for over 100 years by the time of the events of these games. Echoes of ghosts from a world unrecognizable amid the radioactive fog and water shortages plaguing everyday people trying to rebuild from rubble. But music lives on in their lives, a background hum of humanity to hold on to know that elsewhere out in the wastes are other human beings, just like you, fighting for their lives to build a life and a sustainable future for their children and their children's children. There is still creation, there is still cooperation, there is still corruption, and there is choice. As a player protagonist, you are given choice. The choice to help someone living with addiction find community. The choice to help someone afflicted with a terminal condition decide how their life ends. The choice to purify water for an entire region or to poison it. The choice to recognize a radio jockey and build their confidence or to decimate their self-image. We are all capable of choice. And sometimes we don't know the outcome of our actions until far long after there's a chance to reverse or reduce the harm we have the capacity to cause. But that doesn't mean it's not worth trying to do the right thing. Creation amidst destruction is not a new concept. Birth and death and rebirth, and the cycle continues, and war never changes. Vines and weeds crawling up from ashes and reclaiming the earth for life to continue against the odds. If we are to look to a SolarPunk future in our world, the arts are something to hold on to. Humankind has been obsessed with creation and storytelling since the very beginning. Oral traditions tied to religion, historical record, and the life story of humanity that gave way to traditions of written music, to audio recordings, to a fusion of all of the above and novel approaches to noise-making that find new audiences every generation. Our SolarPunk future is one that brings with it the music and baggage of the culture that we live in that produced it. One of the most important lessons that I learned from studying music history at the university is the fact that no act of creation, no creative work, is apolitical. Everything exists within a political context. And so, if we want to live in a SolarPunk future, we have to start now with SolarPunk creations that reflect our sincerely held beliefs. If the song you're singing is one that brings you joy or expresses your grief or brings you into community with others, why worry about being in tune? Tuning systems have only existed for less than 3,000 years, and the Western 12-tone system has only been formalized for about 100 years. Humans like making noise. Those kids will probably know that very well. And sometimes that noise doesn't fit into nicely calculated harmonic series. But humans like making noise nonetheless. A marching band in December trying desperately not to freeze their fingers off will adjust tuning so that everyone is at least in tune with each other, even if it's not technically in tune by our culture's measure, so that they can perform as a unit. Insisting on 12-tone tonality in the Western European American tradition ties into structures of white Europeans romanticizing the ancient Greeks and creating lasting classist structures in what is considered quote-unquote good music. So make noise, make art, make nice noise, make harsh noise, make pretty art, make ugly art, make. We live in a world right now that incentivizes creation only if it serves to turn a profit and creates the archetype of the starving artist to disincentivize people from pursuing quote-unquote non-productive work in favor of the capitalist structure that feeds the investment portfolios of the most well-off of humanity. Sea shanties were for sailors to work in unison. Folk music is to tell life stories. Fine art music is indicative of class and education and to stimulate the mind. Popular song is just that, for the populace. All noise-making serves purpose. All creation, all choice has the potential for good. In a definition of SolarPunk, that drive towards a sustainable and equitable future for all, music is a powerful tool. Everyone from the youngest among us to the oldest can join together. All religions and creeds, genders, nationalities can make noise together. There will be differences and conflicts of musical language, of tradition, but there can be a cultural exchange that enriches all involved, especially in communicating the ideals of a future that requires collaboration, a quilt patchwork of community efforts to support and encourage every life on this earth to a brighter future, less reliant on unsustainable energy sources and oppressive power hierarchies. Every life, the singers, the instrumentalists, the composers, the radio jockeys, the people in the kitchens, the laborers, the teachers, the engineers, the artists, the storytellers, the elders, every life. For the Wastelanders of Fallout, music is both a reminder of a world left behind and a path to forge ahead. Admittedly, the game I've spent the most time with is Fallout 4, so the best example I can give is that of the bar musician Magnolia. Now, I will try not to spoil a game from 2015. And in our reality, Magnolia's songs were written and performed by the Linda Carter of Wonder Woman fame. But in-game, Magnolia's songs tell personal narratives of a woman escaping from a power structure hell-bent to subjugate her because of how she came into this world, her finding refuge with allies of a rebel faction, rebuilding her personal identity, surviving with sex work, and finding community and belonging with the outcasts. More than one of her songs reads like a call to help others out of awful circumstances and to join her and others like her in a better life. From the song titled "I'm the One You're Looking For," it reads, "I see you looking round the corner. Come on inside and pull up a chair. No need to feel like a stranger, because we're all a little strange in here. Have you got a history that needs erasing? Did you come in just for the beer and cigarettes? A broken down dream you're tied to chasing? Oh, well, I'm just the girl to make you forget." I don't offer a panacea, a cure-all for the world that we live in. I don't agree with Ed Sheeran that we could change this whole world with a piano, add a bass, some guitar, grab a beat, and away we go. Not every musical tradition is going to use the same musical language. But I do believe that love can change the world in a moment. To borrow an old cliche, I believe that the best time to choose love in a moment was yesterday. The second best time is today. I do not believe that nuclear apocalypse is an inevitability. I do not believe that climate destruction is guaranteed. I do not believe that religious discrimination, systemic racial discrimination, homophobia, transphobia, and the like can survive indefinitely. Certainly not when there are people today who sow the seeds of a future mutually beneficial to all creation. In the words of the Ink Spots, I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. Thank you.